I
Yeah.
use that every once in a while, but the problem with that kind of camera is that, like when you have like a whole lighting setup, sometimes the automatic like just the automatic settings just don't really go that well.
I wanted to ask you because I know you were doing videography and event productions and everything, commercials full time. Yeah.
Yeah, doing that as I think it's been like 2.5 years now that I've been doing that. I mean, it's been since. Sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, but
It's
I mean, I
okay.
think if anybody heard me say that, they'd be like, "Oh wow, he's just been doing it for that long." I mean, I've been doing videography since 2011, but I recently took it as like my full time job about 2.5 years ago.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm still doing it part time. So when you said it's only been 2.5 years, I think that's a long time. Like I look at it, I'm like, damn, that's dope.
Yeah, it was tough. It honestly, there was a lot of hurdles that you go through, like as not only like a filmmaker, but if even just on a if you zoom out, like even just as a creative, to be able to make like anything creative as your full time job, it's just it's a lot of things that I don't think they. I mean, I don't know. I guess I'm probably gonna get really opinionated very fast on this podcast, but like in business school, like because I went to school for business for a while, it was geared towards like real estate or towards law, but they never really talked about creative side and how to
Yeah.
like sell yourself as a creative. So it was always really, really like difficult to see like the lectures and try to connect it to a creative field because it's like, okay,
Is
of
that something
course,
that you
like
wanted to do when you were studying? Do you say I want to do that? I want to be full time creating content, or when did you realize that that was something you wanted to do?
existential questions, even though they're so simple, but like, I guess when, as like, screw it, just gonna go in. So when I first started out like making art like as a young little buck, I mean I was like I dove into art like completely. I was painting, drawing, and then whenever I found out that camera was, a part of an art form, I started taking photos, started doing videos, and then I found out that I could make videos and I could make like I can also dance and express myself through art like that. I was just like fully immersed into art just in general. So, but then as I kind of grew up and then as I got out of high school, I kind of told myself like, there's no way, like, there's no way I can sell like this little painting on my paper, or there's no
Yeah.
way that I can, make money off of these photos. And I just had like this kind of brainwashed sort of outlook on life that you can't do that. Like you have to,
It's
like
just
there's
a
a
hobby,
moment,
basically.
there's a moment in a creative's life where you just have to grow up. Like that's what was in my brain. And I think it was because like, my father, he used to do like street art and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
then my mom used to do interior design. And so they were both really creative, but what their job is today is commercial real estate investors. And
Oh,
so
okay.
I think in my brain as a young kid, I kind of processed it as, well, if you want to get, what your parents have, you have to do exactly what your parents did, which is give that stuff up, like grow up, go and get a real job and go invest and go do all this stuff. And I kind of I did exactly that. Literally out of high school, I quit doing everything art for like over a year, over 2 years, where I didn't even touch, like I didn't even draw,
Damn.
like I don't know if anybody knows me, like they know that if there's a piece of paper, I'm always sketching. If there's a video camera, I'm always recording. If there's music, I'm always tapping my feet. I'm always making like a beat or something. So I've always been like that, like, like as a kid, like I would grab little sticks and like make little characters on the ground. So that's me as like, as a human being. Right. But so when I got out of high school, it was like, I completely took all that out. And then I got my real estate license and I became a salesman. I was cold caller. So I made like 200 phone calls a day.
Yeah.
And like, I just got all of it like stripped from me. And to answer your question in the longest form ever,
It's
um,
okay.
I I met my who now is my girlfriend, Rebecca, and she was doing video for a living, like full time. And she wasn't like a millionaire or anything, but she was
Yeah.
doing it. And for me, like that inspired the hell out of me because I felt like I kind of felt like a loser. Like I was like, are you serious? You gave that up? Like you didn't believe in yourself like that much? Like, and there's other people that can do it. And so she kind of like put it back in my face and was like, you can do it too. Like, dang, you used to have a clothing line. You drew that, you know, all the little drawings in my closet. She's like, you did that. You made these videos. And so I kind of like had the flashlight in my face, you know,
Yeah,
like,
you got put in the
what are you
spotlight.
doing with your life? So, and then I feel like I was really like confused as well. Cause I'm like, what am I doing? And so after maybe like 2 weeks, I quit my job as a real estate agent. And I was just like, I don't know what it's going to take. I'm just going to go towards trying to make it as a filmmaker.
What was your first like gigs, or what did you want to get into? Because I know when it comes to filmmaking, there's music videos. Maybe you want to do shooting brand deals. Maybe becoming an influencer. Like when you first started, what was like, okay, I need to do this to make money, or what was like the first things you did?
Mm-hmm. So I think this is where we can kind of relate to each other in like a very direct way, because when I first quit my job and when I first went out there, I honestly didn't know. I feel like I quit my job. Well, I know for sure I quit my job before I even had a plan. And then I was just like, okay, like what do we got to do? And like, you know, Rebecca had her processes and her clients and her things, and she's like, well, you know, you do whatever you want to do. And I'm like, oh shoot, I could do whatever I want to do. And I had like this adrenaline kick to like go make things. So
Yeah.
I was just like, okay, YouTube, here we go. I'm gonna make a video. I'm now a vlogger. And then I was like, okay, cool. Nobody's watching me. That's fine. I'm gonna go make like this fun video that I made, which was called Create Stuff. We like broke a bunch of different things, wrote on like this backdrop, just create stuff. Cause I really like, I didn't know what the heck I was creating. I was just like,
Mm-hmm.
I just need to make something like, and then, so after all of that adrenaline kick and everything, after all of that died down, I went in through like a really kind of like depressed stage. Cause I didn't have like structure. I didn't
Yeah.
have like clients. I didn't have anything.
Oh yeah, I could definitely relate to that. It's hard when, because I'm pretty sure even though you were doing things for fun, maybe a vlog or something, you put it in like 4 or 5 hours or more into a single
Mm-hmm.
video, and then you get no response from it. Like that's so
Yeah.
heartbreaking. But I guess the way I've learned is just like, okay, you finish this piece, promote it a little bit, because you don't want to just put it out there and hope that the internet finds it. You know, you still kind of have to a little bit push it
Mm-hmm.
to whoever you can, and then after that you got to move on to the next piece. So that's
Yeah.
how I've been dealing with it.
And what book do you read, or what class do you take for somebody to tell you that? You know, you almost have to be like a master Google searcher to find these sort of resources and people to help you. And like I didn't even know like when I quit my job, I recently discovered who Casey Neistat is, which I would say most people do know who that is if you guys are in
Yeah.
YouTube. And that was the first time I ever heard of him, because like, I mean, if you're not in like that space, and you know, you don't know of any of these resources. So I like, when I looked left and right, I was seeing my business textbooks, and then I was seeing my art textbooks. So it's like how to sell or how to shade in a face perfectly.
Yeah.
And I didn't know like where the line kind of like connected. And I think that's like the past journey, which my vlog series called Woodie's Journey. And I think that's just been my journey of finding out like who am I, how am I gonna make a business out of this, how am I gonna make money, because I can't just draw on a whiteboard all day long and then go to sleep and say like, oh, somebody's gonna leave a check under my bed.
Yeah.
Like, no, you, like you said, you do have to push it out, and you do have to do all that stuff. So it was confusing. And you know, the YouTube world is kind of weird in the sense that if you make videos and you don't like push it out in different ways, like you said, then you don't know like what people like or what people dislike. So
Mm-hmm.
then you're almost like you're almost looking around like, well, what else could I do? And then you make another playlist, and so you start making more videos about that. Like I was doing like food reviews for a little bit, and then I
Yeah.
was like, okay, kind of worked. Well, let me try this. And then so you end up coming up with like all these different random things. And I think the hardest thing about being a creative is saying that, like, okay, you can draw and you can sketch, that's fine, and you can do these things creatively, but if you want to make this your full-time job, then you need to pick a niche. You need to, you know, find out a payment system. You need to find out who your clients are, who your, you know,
Yeah.
or your audience is. It's little things that, you know, we don't think about because we get too carried into, I want to make this thing the best thing I've ever made in my entire life.
Mm-hmm.
But for who is it for, and how much does that cost, and how many times do you need to make that a year to be able to make, you know, the money that you want to make, for you to continue to do what you love without having to go and work for somebody else. That's been the most difficult challenge ever. And
Yeah,
you know,
that's a good thing you said right there, is finding either, if you're a creator, you have to find your audience. Like everybody, like you said, you want to, is, am I going to be doing food? Am I going to doing vlogs? Am I going to, and a lot of us struggle with that stuff. So I niched down in a very super niche down concept, which was Coachella related videos. And it just hit me right now too. Like Coachella was canceled and it's probably going to be canceled again. So it was moved from April to October, and it's probably going to be canceled because there's no way they're going to allow 125,000 people to come together. So I dedicated all this time making videos towards that, even though I got decent views and some subscribers, but it's like, I just hit a dead end, you know. It's like, okay, I got to do something more, start a new series, start doing something different that's more still related to my audience, but also like, don't just settle down on one super narrow niche. That's what I kind of did. So it did help me grow, but it also put me in this like box where now I'm trying to like, okay, I got to do more than just that.
mm-hmm. The way I see it is, think about Amazon. We all want to be, we all want to have the sales that Amazon has. So what we do naturally as creatives or business people or just human beings, whenever we're trying to go towards that type of business, is, okay, what is Amazon doing? They're doing everything. I should do everything.
Yeah.
And then that's when you completely fail, because you can't do everything. Like, it just doesn't work like that. Amazon started out with books. That was their, that was everything that they were working on, and they were losing money on that. But just continuing on making that niche and mastering that so that you can say, okay, yes, that's in my arsenal. That's the way that you have to start out, because then you can start adding on,
Yeah.
and then eventually you become the Amazon. That's like, that's been my whole process like this past week, because I've been trying to figure out, actually I'm trying to figure this out. I'm trying to figure out what is my, you know, what is my niche.
Mhm.
And I'm trying to do like extensive research on how to figure that out. And really I just I love matching and mirroring. Like, if I want to be like somebody, then I'll do what they do, but not only do what they do, but do what they did to get to where they're at
Where they're
today.
at.
Yeah, because we get like sidetracked, and we get like, okay, our favorite YouTuber is doing everything, so I should do everything.
Yeah.
That's not how they got there. That is not how they got there. And so I think you even have more content with Coachella because of this, because I'm wondering what happened to Coachella. You
Yeah.
know, what is like, what are performers doing in replacement of performing on stage? Like, what's happening there? And like,
That's really interesting.
how is like Travis Scott just did that collaboration with Fortnite, and now he's selling his character in Fortnite, and he's also having concerts on Fortnite. And so kids are paying for the skin, the character, and then they're also paying for the show to go
Yeah.
and watch them. And so I think there's content around that too. So is Coachella in Fortnite? You know, like, doing content like that, I think is
Wow, that does make it interesting, because it's true. Like when I made a video, I mean, it was, I just briefly touched on it, but I was saying how a lot of these artists that go to music festivals, that's like their main source of income. So there's no more CD sales, no more vinyl records. So either festivals selling merch, going on tour, but there's no more tours, there's no more festivals, there's no more concerts. So it would be interesting to type in, maybe even reach out to some smaller scale artists, maybe even talk to them. That's one of the things I've been wanting to do. It's one in I wanted to do a video. I mean, if someone's gonna watch this, and I don't think they're gonna do it, but it's like, DMing every single person on the Coachella lineup and seeing who wants to come on the podcast. Like make a video out of that, and then hopefully some of those become a podcast guest.
Yeah, dude. I think you could totally get some guests on like that. I think that'd be awesome. Like, honestly, I think about, okay, so I feel like when I think about a niche, the first thing I think about is you can only do that one thing. But there's a lot that goes into like each topic, each like niche, that there's just too much content for us to even create by ourselves. Like there's not enough content
Yeah.
for you to create by yourself about Coachella. And I think it all stems out of, where does the curiosity lead you? You know, like if I'm curious, what is the artist doing in replacement of Coachella? How are they making money?
Yeah.
You know, or how does that person that it was going to be their first time ever on the Coachella lineup, how do they feel right now? I need to find that out. Are they crying? Are they depressed? Are they handling it with, you know, whatever they're doing? Or are they trying to go live every day? Like, what's happening with that guy? And how does he feel? And is there an opportunity for the next lineup? Is there talk about it? Like, even like, what is Coachella doing to make money? Is Coachella making, you know, selling pre-sales or something, wristbands for next year? Is there safety precautions that they're going to take next year? How about Coachella fashion, you know, the masks rising in fashion for next year, that people are going to show up to Coachella with masks.
That's true.
And it's going to be like Louis Vuitton masks or something.
Like a look at a potential 2021 fashion is just like protective gloves, matching gloves with your matching face guard. That is really interesting. Never really thought about those. And it's true. You could have a niche, but from there you could just start. It's like I saw this analogy of your channel or your content could be a tree, and then the branches is just like, the tree is your main stuff, but the branches, they're just endless. Like branches come out of branches, and then it's leaves, and it creates this entire structure out of one single thing. So that's really cool that you brought that up.
Your niche is the seed that you plant, right? It's that thing that you plant into your content. I think that, to loop it back into being a creative and trying to make a business out of it, is, I think that was like the hardest thing, but the most essential thing to do, which is find out who your audience is and what you're going to, most people don't like sell, but what you're going to sell to them, or what you're going to offer to them. How are you going to service them? You know, what product are you going to offer? And really having it like an In-N-Out style menu in the beginning of, you know, we have cheeseburgers, French fries. And if you get lucky, you get that shake, you know, you get the
the secret menu.
Yeah, you get that secret menu. So the first thing I did when I was trying to, you know, make video my full-time business, was I got everything that I could possibly do. Like I offered photos from like large buildings in downtown Los Angeles to like senior photos. And I just realized that like having so many options and so many possible clients, it's like, if you have everything, you have nothing, right? So that's what I try to like break it all down. And then also my video packages, like I was doing highlight reels, I was doing long version form, short version, square format, like so many different options that it just makes it so much harder for somebody to work with you. Like if I can go to you and say, like, I know that you can do the best like 2-minute highlight video with this setup for this price all the time, then like like, cool. I know that you're my client. I know that's what you can afford. And so it became a lot easier to like break it all down and offer it like, offer less, but then it allowed me to offer more, because not only what happens is when you see, well, that's like the first stage, right? It's like cutting down your packets, cutting down like what you offer so that you can find that like perfect client. And for me, it was like making 1-minute videos, highlight videos monthly. And I offered it to corporate clients. And I just knew that if I got X amount of monthly clients, then I could make this happen. And then from there, we've been doing nothing but, after I was on my feet and I had money to run around, then it was like, okay, I can add in this other thing. And even though I felt like I wanted to manage their social medias, I wanted to do this and that and make you graphics, I didn't offer any of that. And
Yeah.
then they really looked at me like a specialist in what we were doing. And then from there, like after, 2 years, I would say in the last half a year that we've been working, we've been adding on little things like, oh, hey, I noticed that your social media is, kind of dying down. Do you need help with that? And then, but it's not the package that we offer, because it just makes it so much harder for somebody to like
To manage all that, like trying to do everything, like you said, social media to the content to this to that, just narrow it down to those packages. I was gonna ask you, because when you brought up the artist, how's right now being in a lockdown affecting your business? Because I know you work a lot with clients and do video work for people. How's it been affecting you over the last month?
Honestly, I wish I could say that I was doing amazing and business is booming, but I think it's pretty clear that everybody that's a small business owner has been affected, and our our business is no exception. It definitely has taken a bit of a downfall, because like for us, we work with larger clients that actually show up to an office and there's like 15 different moving parts, different contexts that we have to deal with. So it's not just like like a social media influencer that we're making videos for. Like, that person's not just at home, so we can still contact that one person. It's like when these big companies went in their own lockdowns, then all of their departments went with them. So when I message them, where's the revisions, or where's this and that, and they say, well, that person's home and they're not being paid, and so they're not going to. And then I'm like, well, we still have these open invoices. Billing department is gone.
Wow.
We can't do anything. It's closed. Like everything's at the office, and we can't pay anything. We can't do anything. Everything's on lockdown. And then I'm like, well, I need somebody like to handle this. The CEO is gone. Is locked down. So everything turned into like I was circling around and trying to get answers and stuff, but everybody is. I mean, I tried to get certain invoices paid for, certain things handled, but I got responses like, you know what, we're locked down. I have all my kids here and I can't believe you're messaging me.
Yeah, damn, that
so,
sucks.
And it kind of puts you in a position as a business owner. It's like, yes, we need to service our clients. We need to get paid, but like a lot of stuff is happening and a lot of different people are handling it in different ways. And so I feel like just understanding that like people, like the world is not like okay in everybody's eyes. It really is. If you zoom out, like we're gonna be fine. Everything's gonna be fine. Even like things are gonna happen. Like I'm not saying that like deaths and things are fine, but I'm saying like in the grander scheme of things, like we're all gonna be fine. We're gonna be okay. And I think just kind of relating to that part of your clients and just saying, you know what, I get it. Like things are bad. I'm not gonna say that like I need to get my invoice paid for because the world's the same. Like the first thing is just like letting them know it's okay. Like we don't need to do a video this month, or we don't need to work on this project right now. But I think that kind of diffuses the stress level of why are you messaging me, to now like what can we do, like how can we let your clients know that you're still there, like that there's still hope.
Once it's over, you want to let them know. Well, let them know that you're still there, as in like you're still available, but also because once everyone's gonna get back to normal, it could be maybe, I don't know how long it's gonna be before we get to being normal, but you already have a relationship with these people, and hopefully you still have these clients moving forward. And what are you doing now, since a lot of your regular clients, like, are you finding new ways or new strategies to trying to make some income right now, or how are you doing?
Yeah, I definitely am. In the beginning, I feel like I was doing that, just like messaging people like listen to me, and then now I reversed it from like listen to me to let me listen to what the problems are, and let me see if I can kind of slip in there and see if I can offer something, as a solution. So, some of our clients were telling us like, well, we can't even have like a board meeting or something. So then we're helping people set up their Zoom meetings, their Zoom accounts. We're helping, like we actually recorded a video for a client on the Zoom recording where everybody like one at a time said a piece of this statement. And then we chopped it up all together with some stock footage because we weren't able to go out there and film, and they loved it. So that was their replacement for this month's worth of content. And so now we're just calling over all of our clients and trying to replace, you know, because what happened, like, if we can't show up for production, we just has to be straightforward, point blank. We took away something from them. Like, we can't be there. We can't give them the production day. That's taking away. So we just have to find out different ways to give them like the same sort of value. And I found that, like, asking them, what do you think we should do in replacement of that? And then letting them speak has helped, because in the first one I was saying so many things and I was like, maybe I can give you this and I can give you another edit and another day. And then, so I started adding on because in my head, the value was so high. Yeah. But then they were like, oh, how about you just do like another 30-second edit? And I was like, sick. Let's do that. Let's run with that. Yeah. So that's just dealing with our current clients, but with our, we're definitely trying to find new types of clients, because like the corporate ones, man, it's just kind of tough. It really is.
Yeah, especially right now, since like you said, a lot of people are either not in the office or they're cutting back a lot of budget. So no one wants to spend that extra money, especially the money that's kind of like for ads or to make the company grow. But there's no company going on right now. Everyone's kind of like just in standstill. So I could see why. What kind of services do you offer? Maybe somebody watching this is looking for some kind of service. Like, do you do video editing? Do you do consulting? Like, what do you offer?
Mm-hmm. So we actually own a company called RBM, short for Rebecca Blue Media, and we do social media videos for different corporate clients, or, you know, I would say like mid to large scale businesses. Mm-hmm. And then sometimes we even work with like influencers or real estate agents. It really just like, it kind of varies. Like, I mean, our main like target audience is like bigger clients, but obviously we work with like anybody all the way down to senior photos. But our main thing is doing highlight videos and like 1 minute or less. Yeah.
From events or just from like the products or what?
Yeah, I would say events is our top one. And then like number 2 would be like business videos. So like testimonial videos or training videos, stuff like that. And then third would probably be just like if there's any influencers and stuff, then we'll do like their content.
Yeah.
You know? So like maybe like a motivational video or something. But we mainly stick around the like the company videos and the event videos.
Yeah, that's good though, because those people usually pay more than trying to deal with like corporations. Usually is a better draw, because a lot of people want to get into videography and photography and they're trying to do photo shoots for different Instagram models, but these people are not making money, so they're willing to like pay you like $50, or they don't even want to pay you like, oh, I'll give you a shout out, like stuff dude. Like that. Oh, it's like gosh. So I kind of like that you took that route of going corporate, where you know that these clients, they need the content and you're providing that service for them.
I got a bone to pick with that, man. It's just so hard out there for like a filmmaker or a photographer, people that capture content or create content for other people. It's so hard for them to ignore the people that are not going to pay. It's so hard because right when you show your camera on Instagram, people will say, let's do a shoot. You know, I have this idea, I have that idea. But normally the people that are chasing you because they don't have any money and they're like, you know, they want to do this collaborative thing, which is fine. It has a place for it. I do have, you know, one side of my business where it's strictly charity. So we do stuff for nonprofits and stuff.
Yeah.
And we'll do that stuff for free, completely free. But I do own a business. You know, this does cost money to do business. There is a cost of business. And so like, I just realized that like the people that you have to chase and the people you have to convince or you know, you have to do a presentation or really spend time to go and like look for, those are your paying clients. And the people that come at you really quickly, or they say, you know, they don't even know your prices and they're already saying, hey, can you give me a discount? Yeah, dude, I usually just say, you know, I know somebody else that can handle that for you. And I do. I always have other people that, you know, are first starting out or that want to do that. But man, even like especially with Instagram models, I mean, in the beginning I was like, sweet, like I'm gonna get so much exposure and I'm gonna get
Yeah.
all these like points and people are gonna love me and I'm gonna make great work. And then I realized that exposure money is just not, you can't trade that for real money. It just
Yeah.
doesn't,
It's
it
just
doesn't really come back
it's
that
it's
fast.
vanity metrics
Mm-hmm.
that have no real value besides, I guess, just for a brief moment socially, but you're not gonna get more clients through that way unless you're doing like the top of the
Mm-hmm.
influencer game. What's for you like a 5-year plan? Since you're already doing corporate stuff, like do you want to take it to a next level? Do you want to start, I don't know, making your own movies? Like what's something that you want to be doing in 5 years from now? Hopefully if the world is back to normal,
Yeah, I believe it will be. I think it's only a matter of time. Um, Man, 5-year goals. It's man. I wish I could answer these questions just directly. Like this is what I'm going to do. I always have like a loop around way because there's just so much that goes on in my head all the time when I think about these type of plans. Um, but man, if I would have told myself that 2.5 years ago I was going to be doing what I'm doing today, I would have a weird conversation with myself. I'd be like, I don't, like there's no way I could have predicted that. And if I would go back even 2 more years or 5 years, there's no
Yeah.
way I could predict that. But if for right now, like where my head is at, and I don't think that this is exactly what's going to happen because it never happens like that. Um, my goal or my dream would be for my video production company, Rebecca Blue Media. I would say we would want to gain enough money from the corporate clients. And obviously, if you're hearing this and you hear corporate, your shoulders already shrug up. You're like, oh, I don't want to be doing that type of stuff. I don't want to deal with this type of people. But honestly, like the clients that we've gotten haven't been like too corporate, like,
Yeah.
you know, so we've been pretty lucky with that. But anyways, that's not what we want to be doing full time. We want to make enough money to to fulfill, I guess, this dream that we have. And I guess kind of have to say this other part too for it to make sense. We actually have an internship program with our company that we
Yeah.
work with the local colleges, Riverside Community College, San Bernardino Valley College, all that stuff. So we bring on different students, film students from there, and we teach them all about like video, but through like DSLRs, like, because I feel like in schools there's like this traditional way of shooting film, or they're barely going towards DSLRs, and they have a lot of like traditional ways of looking about scripting, and it's not too much of like run
Yeah.
and gun. So we bring them on like real life jobs, and we're able to kind of show them how the reality is when you're presenting a script and the client is saying, I don't need to see that. I need this. Can you do that? And so, the artists, they'll get kind of lost in that sort of mix. So we have that, but all of that to, making money and trying to build a team is really to be able to, share our story one day through a documentary form, not our story, but share a story through a
Yeah.
documentary. And so a lot of this is just it's just that saying, like, preparation meets opportunity is luck, right? So
Yeah.
we're getting prepared. We're trying to open up those opportunities with gaining money and doing all that stuff, putting it to the side, so that one day you can see produced by Rebecca Blue Media on Netflix or on Hulu or something. And it will happen. It's just like everything else. It's only a matter of time.
Yeah, it's a matter of when, if not. Yeah, that sounds good that you have that kind of vision and you have a whole team and you're working with younger minds, because I bet like working with students who have a different perspective, because sometimes we have like our own upbringings, our own vision. And do you ever take inspiration or advice from one of your interns that's like, oh, why do we do this? Like, have you ever encountered something like that?
Yeah, definitely. I think the best thing about teaching students is the fact that they are constantly challenging you, especially if they're coming from a college environment, because
Yeah.
they feel like they already know everything. and then the teacher's going to tell them like one or two things. And so they're constantly like, oh, I already know that, like, this is how this and that works. And so it's really challenged me to understand my process better, understand what we do here at RBM, understanding the way, like, who I am as a human being, who I am as a teacher, you know, where my strengths and where my weaknesses are, where we're lacking in processes. You know, sometimes they'll ask a question that just is like, oh, you just need to do this, and then I do it naturally. But then whenever I have to teach it, I have to go back and break it down and then say, why does that dial have to be left versus right? You know, I just searched on a YouTube video that it told me to go left, and so that's just how I've been doing it. And then so, you know, I don't like knowing where the root of things, like, I don't like knowing, actually I don't like not knowing where the root of things come from. I always need to know, like, why
things work the way they work.
Way. Yeah. And so it's been fun, honestly. Like I enjoy teaching a lot. And I've never actually taught like in video. I've only taught in through dance, which I guess would be another little secret pocket of myself. But I've only taught in dance, and I think teaching in teaching video has kind of changed everything, because when I teach dance, I teach to little kids. So when they look up to you, they're like, I believe that. That is reality. That is truth. But when you teach a college student, they say, well, why not the other way? Or why does it have to be like that? Is there a world where it could be opposite of that? And then you have to, you know, well, I've just gotten in the habit of, you know, let me find that out for you. And then the next time I meet with our interns, I'll have the exact answer, and I'll have everything set, and like, I'm prepared.
I had an experience teaching before. I used to coach football for 3 years at the local high school. So I played college football at College of the Desert for 2 years. And then after that, they offered me a job to go help out the high school that I graduated with right here at Indio High School. So I was like, I started teaching, and then, I mean, it was high school kids. So there was a lot of immature kids, but I don't know. There's something about, I guess I was a coach, but it's still kind of teaching. So I don't know. I like just the new perspectives, because it's like a whole new generation and they think different. And then you always put yourself in those shoes. Like, when I was that age, was I really that immature? Or, you know, like trying to contrast all that. So I think it's pretty interesting to teach.
Yeah. The brain is just so interesting, because we always feel that we know exactly how life is until another year goes by. And then we're like, oh my God, we did not know what life was about last year. And I think that's just the greatest thing about life, right? We're always growing, we're always changing, things are always moving, we're always learning how to adapt.
I've been doing more Zoom podcasts, because for a while I stopped doing podcasts. I ended up moving last July, so it kind of, it gets super hot, especially here in the desert. I'm pretty sure Riverside too, like 190, whatever. So it was hard to do podcasts. It's so hot with the lights, and then you can't have the AC going full blast because you're trying to get the better audio. So, and then I ended up moving, and then in this new place, which I'm only staying in this room. So I actually have the computer here. I have the lights here in the room. The bed's right behind me. So for a while I wasn't doing podcasts. Then I started back again, like at the end of last year, January, December-ish. Then I realized, like, you know what, I'm just going to start doing more podcasts. And as soon as I started making the list and trying to get guests on, this whole thing happened. So everything got shut down, that we couldn't do a lot of stuff. So it actually opened up an opportunity to do Zoom podcasts. So although the quality is not the best, but it lets me talk to more people, and it makes it easier to set up a conference, because when you meet in person, like, you have to kind of like meet up together, go to like your setup and all that stuff. So this is kind of, I guess, the positive from all this.
Yeah. No, dude, I think no matter what, it's like, it's good. We're learning, you know, things are changing, but the people that really like get on their feet and try to like learn how to adapt to all those things are the people that are going to win. And like, as for the video quality, even though it's, you know, worse quality than we're used to, I feel that there is a shift right now in the way that people see content, and they see that like lower quality is higher quality, like in the actual substance of what they're watching, because they feel the struggle, or they feel the, you know, past tense sort of video quality. Like you know, that was like back then. And like, so there's like
Yeah.
history attached to it. So it's like, well, what's happening? And you see like the low quality. And I mean, that's why a lot of filmmakers are using like the grains and the scratches and
Oh,
all of
yeah.
those presets. Cause you know, you get this warm vibe when you see like if you saw a couple holding hands just in high quality, then that's one thing, right? You're like watching it. But if you see the couple holding hands in like the square format with the grain going through and like
Yeah.
the
The
clipping and all that
VHS.
stuff,
Yeah.
you have that sort of record vinyl noise, then you're like, oh my gosh, they were together for so long, like, and you're just like invested in it because it's, you know, it's also that you know, you and I got recorded with, you know, these little handy cams that actually look like that.
Yeah.
And so us as kids, like looking back, that's how us looking back at like our past, that's how it actually looks like. And so everybody that's like around our age, we get like this good vibe from it because it's like,
Yeah, it's
oh man,
nostalgia.
VHS vibes.
It's nostalgia is so big. I mean, you see it everywhere, like Hollywood. That's why they keep remaking movies and albums, and people are sampling old songs. And the way they dress now, like it feels like we're coming back to the '90s. It's
Mm-hmm.
weird. Like it's kind of. I remember people always saying that everything kind of circles. It just
Yeah.
goes by faces, and we're back at the '90s, I guess, with the styles that
Mm-hmm.
people are going with.
And I think that people will look back at your podcast, you know, going through the Zoom phase, and they'll be like, dang, like, you know, he was recording through those tough times. Like,
That's true.
you know, it didn't stop him. Like, he's still out there. Like, that's dope. You know,
Yeah.
the people that are really like embracing these things and just kind of going with it, like,
Yeah,
it's
and
not going to mean a lot right now, but add 20 years to it.
no, I have that mindset too. I know, like, because a lot of people tell me, well, not they don't tell me, but I do research all the time, and I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure you do too. Like, how to grow, how to get better, whatever. But
Mm-hmm.
I'm always just thinking, like, all these people that already made it right now, or they have the biggest, like, either podcast or shows. You know, that they've been in the industry for like 20 years, 25 years. You know, the first 10 years that this person was doing radio, like, no one, they had maybe a small audience, like at a local radio show or something. So I'm like, if I start grinding now for the next 10, 15 years, I might not be doing this show anymore. I might be doing something else. But like you said, I could look back and say, oh, back in the day when I used to do that podcast, or maybe the
Mm-hmm.
podcast, I'm on episode 1000. Like right now I'm barely doing like episode 56. I think it's episode 56.
Dang.
So once I get to episode 1000, well, I don't know where that's going to take me, you know, but I just have the mindset, like, you know what, just keep doing it.
Yeah, and even if this podcast was amazing or if it was terrible, it's still valuable because, you know, in 20 years you could look back and say, you know, I was doing amazing stuff since then, or you could say I wasn't always doing amazing stuff.
Yeah.
So either way, like, you know, when you post things online and when you're constantly like showcasing what you're doing, you're building your own history book.
Yeah. It's a chapter. I heard Kevin Hart, he came on, I think, on the Joe Rogan podcast, and there was like a clip that he said he looks at his life as a book. So every year it's a chapter in your book. So most people, like, due to technology, hopefully will be able to live to 100 years old. You know, like right now, this chapter is just one of the chapters in this decade. Is one of the chapters in your whole life. So the next chapter, and then there's the next chapter, and then there's the next chapter. So even if you're at rock bottom or you're doing your best or whatever in between, it's just a chapter, and life keeps going forward. So you just have to keep adapting and learning and just trying to get better every day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel that same exact way. I think when it comes down to content and like posting your stuff out there, because, you know, like the chapters and all that stuff, like it goes on whether we wanted to or not. But when we start posting online, it's all of a sudden showcased. So it's like now people can see those chapters on like,
Yeah.
you know, social media or whatever. And I think like 2.5 years ago, when you were like, when you would search up the name Woodie Landeros, you would see nothing, not one thing. There was only one thing where it was my cross country records from high school, and they had posted my name, and, you know, my name is Woodie Landeros, so there's not that many people that are out there with that name. And I was like, dang, if I had like a kid, or if I had, you know, or if I were to pass away today, and people were to search up and say, who was Woodie Landeros, I would have nothing to show for it. And I know my chapters, I know what I went through. But by not having stuff on social media, you know, it's kind of like, unless if you're really good at filing it away in an external hard drive and saving it and documenting it for yourself, like stuff just goes away. Like it's gone. Like I've been to Hawaii, but it's gone. Like I never pressed record, or I never took any photos when I went there. And so I when I tell my kids, it's gonna be like the same thing that when my dad, you know, used to say that he used to break dance on cardboard out in the streets of Los Angeles. I'm gonna say, oh, okay, yeah.
But did you really, Dad?
But did you? Like, did you really do that? And then he used to also tag up trains in South Central, and you know, do graffiti or whatever. He was vandalizing the world. And like, I mean, I know that it's not good to do that, but man, like if there was a video clip
that's cool
of
bro.
him doing that, like I would be able to just understand him more. I would be able to, you know, like just get to know my father more. And I think that like, I want to make sure.
For example, like you're making a great point, because if you look at pictures when you're a little kid, or even pictures of your dad, like, yeah, he's telling you stories and maybe there's a photo out there, but just to see it in video is just so much more powerful. And for me recently, I just found a hard drive from like middle school, early high school years. And there's videos, because I used to have a camera back in the day too. So I would record my friends. We would do like skits and stuff. I'm talking like 2008, 2009. And I uploaded some to YouTube, but most of them, they were just there in the hard drive. Like I never thought of like becoming a YouTuber or anything, but looking back at those photos, because I was recently looking them up, because my niece is going to turn 15 tomorrow actually. So I'm making her like a montage of her whole life. Like we have videos from she was a little girl to right now. So since she can't have a party, I'm gonna make a little video for her. So I had to go through like every single folder, look at every picture and video, and it was just like just bringing so much memory. So when I have YouTube videos or anything that I'm posting, even now when I look back at videos from like 2016, it's just like, damn, I remember those times. Oh, I remember how my house used to look like this. And those memories kind of go away, but then when you look at the video, everything just starts rushing in. Like, oh, remember when we used to do this, or oh, remember we used to, you know, like things like that. I think is just the best.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've noticed that whenever I look back at like anything that I found like that made me as a person, like as a I guess like as a young person, I could always connect it back to a photograph or to a video. Or there's just that like one uncle that says that story over and over again, and then that's what we remember.
Yeah.
But once you start like realizing that most of our memories are connected photographically, then it's like, how many photographs could we take now? How many videos could we take? How many things could we post? Like now we can start really understanding who we are, because if I didn't have videos like 2.5 years ago, if I were to look back 2 years, I would say, yeah, I know exactly who that person is. But now, after posting for 2.5 years, I look back at that person and I know like so much more about myself, because I'm like, why was I so stressed? Why was I talking so fast? Like, where was my head at? And I really thought I could, I really thought I was doing this, but instead I was doing that. So then you can kind of like trace back all the dots and then start seeing like who you really are in that mirror. And like one of the things I've been doing, and I haven't been posting a lot of vlogs lately or podcasts, but I bought a camcorder.
Yeah.
And for anybody else that doesn't, do video or doesn't, they might think like, oh, you conceited, obsessed person, whatever. But what I do is I set it up random times in my day, and I'll just talk to it. Whatever's going on. Like, the weather's feeling like this, but I feel extra warm today. I had oatmeal in the morning and I feel a little sad.
Logging like in Avatar. Have you seen Avatar, the movie?
Yeah, exactly.
He used to log every day.
Exactly that. And I'll record even my siblings. I'll ask them questions like, what are you thinking about right now? What do you feel about, your sister going to work, or what do you feel? Whatever. I'll just ask them random questions. and I save that in an external hard drive, and I already have like 2 years of footage that I've never looked at, even after pressing record. And I have hours and hours. I think it's already like 2 terabytes or something
Wow. So
filled up.
but you haven't looked at it?
No, I just press record and I just talk. I do whatever I want. Like, and it's just, I think it's going to be interesting because like I'm gonna keep on doing it, and I plan to do it till I get like an old person, and
You should do that as a YouTube channel. Just every day, just like you said, it doesn't have to be every day, but each one of these logs on a separate channel, just post it. Like, don't even try to make it cool. Just literally your thoughts, what's going on every day, and then you'll have both the hard drive, but some people might start like, oh, what the hell, this is different. Like, they'll be seeing like every day, like, oh, today you found out about COVID or something. Today this got shut down, or oh, we're back to normal. You know, like you could see a whole process. And like you said, in the future, if you plan on doing this to your old, like people could see that same process. I think that would be super cool.
Actually, I think I might do it. The reason why I started doing actually was something you just said, which was making it cool. I think that's the hardest thing about having a channel or being a content creator is we always want to be cool. We always want to make it, we always want to have the best song and the best transition and have it connect. And then who is our audience and what is our purpose and what's coming next and how do I categorize all of my talents? And then we don't actually share like the not cool stuff, which most people would probably say, like, after you're hearing it, you're like, damn, that's cool.
Yeah.
But I think to myself, like, who would want to see that? But that's probably what's even stopping me from actually making it on YouTube.
Yeah, I feel the same way because sometimes there's content where I'm just like, I don't want to post it. Like, it's not even good. The camera quality is bad. Or sometimes I might post it on Instagram. Like, I don't want to make it a YouTube video, but I'll make it something on, and then I get so much engagement. And I'm like, I spend time trying to make a perfect video or trying to make it the best I can, like good lighting or trying to get, like you said, the transition, the songs and everything, slow motion, speed ramps. And when you make something simple, like some people just want to like relate to it or they enjoy the simplicity. I don't know. It's weird.
It's just like, it's a difference between like getting your headshot done and then somebody just seeing your face like in person. So like we always, like as content creators, we always want every single time somebody looks at us to be a headshot, you know, perfect lighting, perfect stuff. The hair's all done. Yeah. Let me smile, you know, all proper and perfect. And you want to be seen like that because you're like, well, if I can take those headshots, like might as well take them. But not knowing that, like, or not spending time to look over at people want to feel more like they're just talking to you like in person than they do at looking at your headshot every day. Nobody wants to see that shit. They just want to talk to you. Like they want to see you, period.
Yeah.
They don't want to see the perfect lighting. Like, yeah, once in a while, like you can do that, or, you know, if you can like offer that, but it is important to have those sort of interactions. Cause I mean, I've seen like Halle Berry, you know, on the big screen and everything. And you connect in a certain way and you're like, okay, she's that person.
Yeah.
But then you see her like on the Jimmy Fallon, his new show that he's doing everything like on Zoom calls and stuff. You see her talking and you feel way more connected. And then you think, why didn't I connect the same way when she was on the big screen? And it's That's because true. Like that high quality and all that stuff, there's a place for it. And of course, like we need to constantly make good content, but we can't ignore the fact that humans connect with humans. They don't connect with like action figures or, you know, or, you know, a painting of a human or a perfect image of a human. It's just like, I just want to talk to you, like, period. Yeah. That's it. I just want to connect like that.
Be relatable. That's one of the things I struggle with. Sometimes I'm not related. I feel like I'm not relatable enough in some aspects. And I think that's something we got to work on, try to be more relatable as part of the whole thing, like showing your true self, you know, like some behind the scenes stuff that's not going to make the final cut. Like some people might love those bloopers. Like there's a reason why there's like America's Best Home Videos. Like people love to see other people struggle and pain and stuff.
That's as a creative, we always ask that, right? It's like, who am I? What am I doing? How do I do it? How do I make the best out of it? How do I find my voice? But one of my favorite, I guess, I don't even know. He's just one of my favorite Instagram accounts. His name is James Victor. He says when people ask him, "How can I find my voice?" He says, "It's not hiding," and just straightforward like that. And I think when you start thinking like that, like, you just need to like completely be yourself, like being vulnerable in front of the camera, showcasing yourself. That's what's human, being like this announcer voice and saying like, "Hey guys, going live," and da da da. That's not how you talk to people. Like
That's true.
you don't show up to a meeting and say introducing, like, no, like, your best friends don't do that when you walk in. So when you want to be relatable, you just have to be yourself. You can't
Just
like,
pretend the camera's not there, basically.
that's the hardest part, especially
Yeah.
as a filmmaker. It's like we both feel that. I think it's easier right now for me, to be honest. I don't talk as like confidently on my channel because I'm always aware that the cameras turn into a video.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, whatever I say, they're watching. Like everything I do, like every movement, somebody's gonna judge the way I walk or the way I write, the way I speak. I think that's what's fun about this podcast is because I don't like. I mean, it's gonna go on your channel, so
No, to be honest, like I've seen, because I seen a lot of your videos, and it's true. Like right now, you're more like relaxed and
mhm.
outgoing. Like in your videos, you're like serious. Like, oh, I don't know. You make it seem pretty cool, like a mini documentary style. But this one, you're like just like laughing and having a good time. And it's true. I do the same thing too. I make
Mhm.
so many edits, like trying to take all the bad stuff out. You
Mhm.
lose the humanity. So maybe that's what we got to stop doing. Just
The
start.
humanity.
I recently the algorithm like pushed. I forgot, man. I can't remember her channel. It was this girl. I think she's from New York, and her videos, like, she's blowing up. She's got like 70,000 subscribers, and her audio and her video quality is not even good. Like, you hear the hissing sounds, but she makes her videos really entertaining and like relatable to her audience. And I was like, wow, like this is actually super engaging. She doesn't have great lighting. She doesn't have a great camera. She doesn't have good audio, and she's not even like super pretty like some of these other influencers, but she just makes her videos so relatable that she's been blowing up. I wish I could remember her name. If I find some videos from her, I'll send them to you. But it just blew my mind. I'm like, damn, like she's just doing this so simple, and then I'm over here with like all kinds of money invested into cameras, and I can't even do anything as cool as she does. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's going towards like, well, what I hear is storytelling, and I know it's kind of been an overused word in today's time. Like, I'm a
Mm-hmm.
storyteller, but screw it, I said it. Um, I think it's going towards storytelling because storytelling has been around for like the longest that we can possibly think of, but video quality has only been around for X amount of years. Audio quality has only been around for X amount of years. So it's really like the one thing that everybody connects to the most in a video or in an audio form is not going to be that high quality, unless if you're going to be going towards like an audio review on like how the mic works, then like, okay, I need to hear that perfectly.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying they have bad audio quality, but I'm saying above video and audio quality is the story quality and is the humanity behind that story. And it's just like, if we focused as much as we focus now on how to make the lens wider, how to make the B-roll shots better, and how to make the hissing stop and the noise levels go down, the gain, and all
Yeah.
this extra stuff that we spend on as content creators. If we spent that same amount of time into the quality of what is being told and through the story form, and no matter what, like if you showcase yourself, you're telling your story. So like if we spent as much time doing like all that stuff into telling our story, then like I think there's no stopping in life.
Yeah, I struggle with storytelling. Like, I really don't. is there any like books you recommend on storytelling or something like that? Because I feel like that's something I struggle with. I don't know. Or what do
So one of the I guess courses, and this is kind of on a higher, so if you're like video production and you have a YouTube channel and you really want to dive deep into storytelling, I get all of my storytelling tips from, or information from Muse, Muse storytelling.
Mhm.
And it's made by a guy named Patrick, and it just breaks down what story is, you know, what makes a character unique, and it's just like a one-stop shop to understand everything about storytelling. Honestly, before like I found Muse storytelling, I was just getting little tips from one person and another person. But what I found was that when you do that, you're risking your recipe, because you're saying, I'm going to grab one piece of ingredient from somebody's recipe,
Mhm.
another ingredient from somebody else's, and then you put it all together and you try to make an omelet, but at the end it's just like, it's not even the same thing, because you're not using somebody's, you know, full-blown recipe that you admire. So I found it through Rebecca, actually, and I just love the way that they told stories in 30 seconds or less, or even 30 minutes, an hour, whatever.
Mhm.
um, and so I completely dived into that. Like, I try to make sure that whenever I'm trying to learn something, I don't take from like too many places, because then you'll start finding that they start contradicting each other, and then you start overthinking, creating analysis paralysis, and then you're not taking action because you're like, is he right or is he right? I would
Yeah.
just take action on one, and mine was Muse storytelling, um, and then adapt. Like, if you don't like it, then, you know, take that piece out or whatever, and be comfortable with changing it a little bit, changing the recipe if it's too salty. um,
Yeah. Adjust it to
and
your needs, you know. What some stuff might not apply, but
mhm.
that I'll definitely check it out, just because yeah, I feel like that's one thing I struggle with, is how to put everything together. When it comes to making a video though, like I could make a story out of footage. Like if I have footage, I could do that. But when it comes to just actually telling a story, I don't know, even just writing, like if I'm trying to make a video, I don't know, I feel like I'm not making them good enough. But I don't know, maybe I'm just
Mhm.
judging myself too hard.
With vlogs, I've kind of like dumbed it down a little bit. Like, with some of our larger clients, we go through like the entire Muse storytelling process. But with my personal vlogs, and I don't think it's perfect by any means, but this is just kind of what I do. I always think about, okay, so like, what's actually happening in this vlog? Like, I'm going here, I'm doing this, but let's say like I was going to like a food place, and if I didn't have like a story or anything, I would just go to the food place and come back. But what am I going to actually like get at this food place, and what am I going to learn out of it, or what am I going to experience? It has to be either, damn, I have it written down somewhere. I think it's a entertaining, educational, or dang, I'm about to find this thing right now. Just give me 1 second. I'm gonna stall for a second. Okay, yeah, it needs to entertain, educate, or inform. So that's why I usually think about my vlogs. Like, which one is it? Is it going to be fully like entertaining? Am I going to go full force on that? Is it going to educate? Like, do I need to teach somebody something?
Hmm.
Or is it going to inform them that a new food place is open? So I'll pick one of those three. And then what I'll do is I'll kind of work backwards. So like, if I'm going to inform somebody that the location is open, then I usually want to start out with a question like, is the place open or not? I'm going to go find out, and then kind of have that journey through
Yeah.
it. But the one thing that I put in the beginning of my video is like a hook, which everybody knows what a hook is. So I'll do something that's like maybe like when I showed up, I'm like, is it open? Is it not open? And then like I cut to me talking like, okay, today I'm going to be doing this and that, and kind of like summarize it, kind of get it going, add some B-roll, the journey of it, go find out, and then answer that question for them. Because if we're not set up with the question and answer form, what happens when people are like, well, I don't know what to expect out of this. I don't know if I'm going to like this, you know, and some videos are really not meant for, you know, all of your videos are not going to be meant for everybody. So
Yeah.
it really asking that question and then putting it out there for people is going to set the pace of, do I have the same question? Am I curious about that? Do I want to stay here and find out? And that kind of sets it up. You know, you'll find like a lot of good YouTube channels saying like, you know, today we're going to find out if raised beds is good for gardening. And like, I really don't know how to do it. And I have this kind of soil and I have this kind of land. Let's see what happens. And then if you're that type of person that's like, oh, I have that soil too. I live in that same environment and I'm trying to find that out. Then obviously, what are you going to do? You're going to watch it.
Yeah.
But if they say, you know, I'm going to do something with gardening today. I might go here and it's just like, you're not bringing the person in. You're not like having that relatability. You're not funneling out the people that are going to dislike your video, you know, so you have to do that from the beginning, I feel like. And I don't think I do this perfectly because
that's so smart.
I'm still trying to learn to like set that first like foundation of, is this video for you or not? And it's okay if it's not. I have other videos.
Mm-hmm. That's a great tip, just prep, you know, because a lot of times I'm just like, okay, I'm gonna make a video about this, but I never really think about those things that you said. Am I gonna be entertaining, teaching people, or, you know, asking the questions beforehand? Because I think that would have helped me too if I have that in mind, or even start the video with the question, like you said. It's just already sounds so much better just by you telling me that. Like, to be honest, that sounds amazing.
And if you're always thinking about educate, inform, or entertain, then you know, like, you're also prepping that type of audience too. And like, this not only works for your intro, but it works for your outro. Like, you can't just tell somebody, hey, like, comment, and subscribe. You have to like prep what your channel is about, who you're talking to. Like let's say, like, I'll see a lot of people saying, you know, subscribe to my YouTube channel because I got a lot of good videos coming. And it's like, okay, well, everybody does, right?
Yeah.
Everybody has that. But if you say, you know, if you're a filmmaker and you're self-taught and you're out there trying to look for books on how to do this thing and you can't seem to find what you're looking for, I actually do that. I actually find those things. So if you want to figure out those type of things, go ahead and press the subscribe button because next week we have something.
Yeah.
Way more.
Like way better than just asking.
Because that might not even be your audience in 2 years. And
yeah.
And if you say like subscribe just because, then somebody's going to subscribe just because, and then it's like, then they're trapped into it, and then that's why you get people unsubscribing because they're like, I didn't sign up for this, and that's
they don't even know.
That's why we have the back of the book, right? The back of the book says it's funneling out the people that are going to waste their time reading the book. You need to look at the back of the book. You need to look at if that's the right book for you. People do. It's a fact. People do judge books by their covers.
Yeah.
Not only by their covers, but by the back of the book. And so if you showcase the book cover, you showcase the back, then you're just setting yourself up for a better audience and a better crowd.
Yeah, that's awesome. One of the things that I struggle with too, that I've been seeing other people do, is like they batch content, or they tell them like, okay, I'm making this video, or after you finish watching that video, they'll be like, oh, if you want to learn how to do this, click this video on the screen, and then they put in the video. So I think that's a good strategy. I've been trying to do it, but I'm still struggling with it. But that's another thing that I've learned.
I've been trying to playlist block everything. So like, I don't know. Like, I think like if you have a different types of audiences, then like what I'm doing like makes sense. And I just did the same exact thing that I just told everybody to do, is like prep the whole situation. If you have a lot of different types of content and it's for, you know, different audiences, then this will be good for you, which is setting it up in playlists. Like if you set this playlist on nothing but business, then if somebody that's into business starts watching that, then they're going to constantly be entertained. But then if right below that you have how to raise a rabbit and a business person pops in there, then they're going to be like, I hate this guy. You know, I don't like this content. Like, I don't need to know about your rabbit, bro.
Like, just teach me the business stuff. Yeah.
Teach me your business stuff. So I think like having little sections for, sections for your, yeah, go for it.
No, you can keep going.
Okay. So I think that having sections for your like different audiences is good for a YouTube channel, even though it's like niche. Like, let's say you're doing like filmmaking, business, lighting tips. Most people will just throw it all in one thing and they'll just post and say like, hopefully you find what you like. But like, let's be real, like filmmakers, some of them don't like business stuff. Some
Yeah.
filmmakers don't like lighting stuff. And I think this goes down to your YouTube channel is not for you. Your YouTube channel is for somebody else. And what I mean by that is a lot of times we'll say, you know, I enjoy water. I need to post videos about water. Boom, 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 boom. I enjoy running. Post videos about running. And it's like, if I was my audience, then my YouTube channel would be banging. It'd be perfect. Like everybody,
This guy's
everybody,
got it.
me, myself, and I, like we're legit. Like we have a lot of viewers, but the reality is that that's not true. Our audience is not us, and so everything that we find interesting is not going to be interesting to our audience. And
That's
so
true.
that's where that niche comes down. And it's like, and if you want to do different things, I would suggest doing playlists. So like some people just know me for my podcast, Shut Up and Fail. There's a playlist for that. You can dive into that. And if you want to look at other stuff and get to know me more, then I have vlogs. But if you don't like my vlogs, you don't have to ever look at that stuff again. There's a whole playlist for you, only for people that are Shut Up and Fail fans.
So, oh, well, I mean, for you balance, because you have the podcast, you have, you still do dancing tutorials, or you're not doing that anymore?
So yeah, I have a section in my YouTube channel that's just titled Dance.
Mm-hmm.
And I always question myself on whether I should be making dance videos, because sometimes I'm like a filmmaker and then podcaster and vlogging and dance, and I love drawing and I love doing this. So I'm actually in the process of cutting things down and then seeing like what's right for what area. So I'm even thinking about doing like what you did about like 8 or 9 months ago, which was making a whole separate YouTube channel for your show and like starting to build up an audience there so that I can post like my Shut Up and Fail stuff in a Shut Up and Fail YouTube channel.
Mm-hmm.
Because I feel like me, like as a character, as a YouTuber, whatever, like that's one thing. And some people might just like the podcast. So I'm in the process of separating those things. And I think that's why like this entire podcast is talking about niche and, you know, narrowing things down, because I'm in the process of doing that today. Like I'm struggling with that.
Yeah, right now too, because I did it for 18 days. I did a whole a daily episode. Like maybe I stopped like a week ago. I was doing daily episodes because I was like, quarantine, I got nothing else to do, I'm gonna start. But then it was just too much politics, too much consuming news, and it's just kind of like overwhelming, like looking at the numbers and people are saying this, and I just, for me to produce it myself, it was hard for me to do the research, set up the camera, then edit. Like I was spending so much time.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, I just can't sustain that kind of work. So unless I do it like a live, but I just don't want to do it. So I was like, you know what, I did it 18 days in a row and I cut it out. I was like, you know what, I'm done. And next I was like, what's the next thing I gotta do? I gotta start doing something where maybe affiliate links or something. And I don't have enough videos where I'm like reviewing stuff. So that's where the affiliate links comes in. So I have a bunch of camera gear. I don't have as many cool things as you do, but I started with my camera, my A7 III. Next, I'm going to be reviewing the H6. Then I'm going to be doing a comparison between the H6 to a Rode Mic Pro versus like the phone, the audio and different, see what people like. That's like my next project, is throwing in like camera gear reviews and just things that I already own. Then from there, I'll start getting like maybe borrow some stuff from my friend and review their lenses. And that's like my next, I guess, batch content, my next playlist, as you were saying earlier.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have the podcast, which I'm starting to do more. And then, like you said, Coachella videos, I'm still going to try to find creative ways to make some. So that's like I kind of want to focus on those three, because I've done other things too, like vlogs, and tried different stuff. But for now, that's what I'm like looking at.
You know, you might even be training for your true YouTube channel, which is something I always think about is like, I'm trying to figure out how to be a YouTuber or have YouTube content. And so I'm doing all these different things, and that might just end up being the content.
Yeah.
How to find your niche, you know, how to focus on your YouTube channel, like what things to post, what equipment to use for podcasts, what, you know, so it's interesting because like it's so hard as a creative, because we want to draw everything.
But, yeah, it's hard.
You know, when it comes down to making money or you know, putting your stuff out there, having somebody even just building an audience, it's like people want to know like, who are you? What can I get from you? What can I expect on this YouTube channel to post every week? And then like they make a decision there. Do I want to watch his stuff or do I not want to watch his stuff?
Yeah.
And then like the second you change, they also go through another decision, which is he changes content. Do I want to continue following him or do I not want to continue following him?
Yeah, that's one of the problems with me too, is when I don't make a Coachella related video, my views just tank like big time. But it's sometimes it's stuff that I like doing, and it's just like, I don't know, I like kind of making this kind of content, but then I don't get the views. And if I keep trying to make Coachella content, I'll get the views. But then it's like sometimes I also look at it as branding, and you alluded this to earlier. You said when you look up your name, Woodie Landeros, like what are people going to search for? So recently I was looking up, I typed in my name just to see, because my name, I guess there's like a famous baseball player, Angel Chavez. He's like the most famous one. He wasn't like super famous. He's not like Alex Rodriguez or somebody that's like at the top. So
Yeah.
One of my goals is like when people search that name, I want to be showing up first before this guy, because he already retired and stuff. So on YouTube, I have so much content, and then like on my other channel, I know I made it, but I haven't really posted as much because I still upload the full podcast video on this channel. And then I might make clips. So a 3-minute clip from this podcast, I'm probably going to make like 3 or 4 of those, and they're going to go into that channel. So once someone searches your name, so if someone searched my name, my name's going to come up on your podcast. It's going to come up in other people's podcasts that I've done. It's going to come up in my other channel. It's going to come up on my main channel. So I think it's just a part of like branding. So if you look up, I don't know, The Rock, or you look Gary Vee or Joe Rogan, their channel might not pop up, but their name might pop up in somebody else's channel, or someone else made a highlight video of them. So I think it's just volume branding over a long period of time, just adding your name to like hear different things, and over time, hopefully that's one thing I'm looking at. I know it's too much, but you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think I'm in a debate with myself about whether making content about like anything and everything and then winning in the like metadata world, or like picking one thing and then like, you know, just running with that. But my problem is always like, I'm not always just interested in one thing. And so
Yeah.
I'm not sure, like, I feel like I might run into a dead end, like how you feel that you did with Coachella.
Mm-hmm.
I just feel like, I don't know, right? I don't know. It's hard to pick something, because then it's like, well, am I gonna like to do that in 6 months? And I think it's better like the way that you're doing is just like, let's just run with it. Let's do it, and then let's change it. Let's run with it. Let's do it, because you know, the more you're failing, the more you're realizing like what works. And so right now it might be like, or before it might have been this, and then you're like, okay, some of the things didn't work, some things didn't work.
Yeah.
And then now it's like maybe like 2 or 3 things, and then you're like, oh, let me change like the third thing. Let me change. So eventually it'll end up being one thing. But I think like a lot of creatives stay over here where they're like, I could do everything, and then analysis paralysis, I'm doing nothing, and they don't move anywhere.
Yeah. Well, for right now, sorry, are you going to start being more consistent, like with more time on your hands now that we can't go out as much? Are you going to try to do the same series that you're doing? Because I saw you posted the Woodie Landeros, like you're documenting like your vlogs kind of thing, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm so I'm kind of like in a weird transition right now, because I do have my video production company, but I also have another company called On Brink. And I don't know if you've seen it or not, but it's just like I'm trying to create a creative resource platform, like a resource library for creatives. And it's just been really difficult because I'm not sure like what my niche is, and I'm not sure like what I should do with it. So right now I'm building up like my email list. I'm getting things prepped so that when I do kind of like narrow it all down, then I'm ready to make content. And that's where I post my Shut Up and Fail podcast, the Landeros Brothers podcast, and the Milk and Cereal podcast. All of my merchandise is there. I just recently released a how to start a podcast course So I have like just resources for creatives there, and I'm planning to build on that library. But before I do that, I'm thinking about like my structure, because I'm really big like on processes and structure before like I do things, like move too quickly, because I'm not sure if I want to post all my stuff on my YouTube channel, my
Mm-hmm.
personal YouTube channel, or if I want to make a separate one for On Brink. And I
Yeah.
think it's leaning more towards that. But I have all my podcasts posted on my personal channel, so I'm not sure if I should take those down or re-upload, or like my brain's kind of in the preparation stages of things, of like trying to figure
Yeah.
out where I want to go. Because my last two videos that I posted on my personal YouTube channel are like the type of content that I would be posting like on Brink, and they're kind of like just kind of like maybe like not motivational, but it's just content for creatives and less about me and more about like creatives
What they
as a
need,
community.
what they might be interested in to
Mm-hmm.
start their careers and stuff. Because I mean, you could start a second one, but I feel like your podcast could still be on this main one, just because you already have them,
Mm-hmm.
and they could just be adding on. And like you said, so if people are not interested in the podcast, they might just be subscribed to you for your other videos. So
Yeah,
they won't watch that one, but they'll watch the one after.
yeah,
I think that'd be cool.
yeah. I have this like problem with rebranding myself 1,000 times, and I think I just need to set like a whole nother like channel for On Brink and post new content on that, and just say like from today on, that's where that content goes, and from today on my content stays here,
Yeah,
instead of like deleting and thinking about like redoing things.
that I feel like a lot of you have a lot of inside knowledge into what it's like to do like a lot of corporate events and having your own production team with interns. I feel like maybe you should make videos about that. I feel like you don't really see that kind of content on YouTube, or at least I haven't really seen it, because I've seen other people like review gear or they have their own like companies. But I feel like that would be very interesting how you're working with younger people and maybe post a video about like you teaching them or something. That would be kind
Mm-hmm.
of cool.
Yeah, that's we actually just did a series for our YouTube channel, Rebecca Blue Media, and we did like our journey of creating an internship program. And so it's a
Mm-hmm.
9-part series where we kind of just walk through all like the struggles and the different like things that happen with the interns, and losing interns and losing money and losing patience. So that's kind of where all of like the intern stuff and the filming stuff
Mm-hmm.
goes. So I'm trying to pour more energy into that channel. I think I have too many hobbies on in too many areas. Um, but I don't know how to solve it yet. I'm still in the process of it, and I'm still in the process um, of structuring Rebecca Blue Media, of structuring On Brink, and then my personal YouTube channel, and trying to keep those separate but the same. And it's just a process. I think probably I'll give myself 2 years to figure out what I'm actually doing on my YouTube channel.
Two
Because if you
years.
yeah, because if you see my vlog, my first um, like season 1 of my vlog, I was literally doing everything, and you know, so you've already heard me say this two times in the podcast. When you're doing everything, you're doing nothing.
Yeah.
And I was making like, oh, I'm thinking about doing stocks, and I'm thinking about doing real estate, I'm thinking about doing this and that, and I'm now like gardening, and I now like, so it was like everywhere. And I think that's what made season 1, which was like, I don't know what I'm doing. So I didn't know that that's what it was, but after finishing out the whole season, that's what it was about. You have no idea what you're doing, Woody. You are now on the internet. The
That's
record
cool.
button is on, and you are lost. So season 2 is really specific to like, hey, now I think I know what I'm doing, but I know that season 2 is still, you have no idea what you're doing, Woody. Like you're still struggling through it.
I think there's like a beauty to that struggle, because I was doing stock videos as well, like 2018, 2017, like videos on like stocks I want to buy, things I want to do this. Like I've done so many different things on YouTube, but like I've done book reviews, I've done movie reviews, stocks, vlogs, podcasts, Coachella, daily fucking updates. It's just I've done so much, but then it's like I learned so much from different things. And even though I'm not talking about movies all the time, I still go to movies, I still watch movies, and I have an interest. And by doing a lot of reviews, then I analyze movies differently. And I'm trying to, every time I watch a movie or a documentary, what's interesting is I'm always looking at like, oh, they use that B-roll, or like, oh, they have two angles on this lady's interview and the foreground is like, I'm always analyzing the transitions. Like it's just in my head, you know, I'm looking at the things, that the aspects of what they're using. And then I also did book reviews, and it's just been so much stuff. But like you said, it's like you start off right here, you start one thing, you start another thing, and just narrow it down. You just got to try it.
Mm-hmm. So I don't know if you watch, and this is kind of giving away all of my resources, all of where I get everything.
Take your notebook.
Yeah, I gather all of my information from this YouTube channel called The Future. I don't know if you've heard of that YouTube channel.
I think I might have seen. Is it like some like Asian dude with like glasses?
So yeah, that's the guy. So it's The Future without an E at the end of future.
Yeah.
He has a lot of content right now focusing on becoming a specialist in the people's eyes, but internally, like if you had to present a poster of who you were, be a specialist. But internally, like in yourself, like you know who you are, you can be the generalist. Like you can know so many different things, but nobody's gonna hire you. Nobody's gonna hire the generalist to get a job done. That they feel that like everybody feels that they need to hire a specialist. Like why would you hire a generalist? Like if I hire a person that does drywall, like if there was two people, okay, one person was, hey, I do drywall. That is what I do. I've been doing it for so many years. Drywall is my thing. And then another guy goes, I do drywall, and I also do baseboards. I do tile, and then I did some gardening, and I also do roofing tiles. And I do babysitting sometimes, and I also like to play guitar, and I have a food review YouTube channel, all this stuff, right?
Yeah.
And who are you going to hire? You already know who you're going to hire.
Yeah, that's true.
You're going to hire the guy that says, I've been doing drywall for longer than you've been alive. This is the only thing I focus on. If you look at my search history on YouTube, drywall. Drywall is everything. And so he kind of just breaks it down of like, that's what happens with creatives. Like if you want to sell yourself as the generalist, understand that you're not going to get, like, nobody's going to pay for that. Because what happens is when you hear the word generalist, or when you hear multiple things that a person can do, you think they have a lot of things on their plate. They probably are not, masters of one. And you end up finding somebody like, you know what, let me find somebody that just does what I need done, because I can't, you're offering me all this stuff. So I've been trying to narrow myself down, because I know how to do web design. I know how to do graphic design. I know how to do screen printing. I know how to do, run a clothing line, a film company, run interns, teach dance, work cameras, DSLRs, record audio, make beats. I know how to do all this stuff. But in the beginning of the podcast, if I would have said all of that, then people would not have gotten this far, because they would have said, man, this guy does everything but nothing. That's ridiculous.
True. That's very true.
But people that enjoy filmmaking, or that are into podcasts, or they have a YouTube channel or something, they're going to stick around, because they're like, oh, he's a specialist. He knows, he's done this before. But you can't scare him away with being a generalist, man. Like, so I think right now I've been kind of focusing more on like, I'm a filmmaker, and that's what I do. That's everything I do. And then I've gotten more clothing line jobs just by saying that I was a filmmaker from the forefront. Mm-hmm. And then later on, I'm like, oh yeah, I can design your company shirts. I know how to do that. But after they've already been convinced that you're a specialist at something, because what Christo says is that if somebody knows that you're a specialist in one thing, then they're already convinced that you can do that one thing. But then when you bring up another thing, then they're already like, oh, well, if he's that good at that, then he's probably that good at that other thing too.
Yeah, so they already
But
trust you with the first thing. They already gave you that opportunity because they're like, "Oh, this guy knows what he's doing," and then you're like, "Oh, hey, if you need help with this, I could help you with this, or let me guide you in this direction." That makes a lot of sense. That's
because I can film your quince, teach the choreography to the dance. I can light up the set. I can run the DJ booth and the photo booth, but that's not what I'm going to put on my business card.
that's true. It's just a handyman. You can't be a handyman. You have to be a specialty. Wow, that's freaking crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Because
So
I
it's the same thing with everything, with life, with everything that you do. Like when you talk to somebody, there's only a little moment that they're going to be able to say who you are. And if you start telling them that you do food reviews and you also have Coachella things and this and that and all of these things, and then you also work in construction and you enjoy beard creams, all this random stuff, then they're going to be like, so man, and they're going to walk away confused and they're going to say, what does he do? I don't even know. I don't have a story, a short form story to tell somebody. Like I, I've told a lot of people about you, and I haven't told you this, but I've told people, yeah, there's this guy Angel. He's dude, he's a YouTuber, YouTube vlogger, and that's my statement, you know. And but if I were to tell them everything else, then they're not going to get. You always have to tell somebody the every single time that you present yourself or that you speak about yourself, you should not only think about like what you're saying, but how another person is going to repeat that statement. So if I heard that from you, hey man, I'm a YouTuber, and then I go, hey man, Angel's a YouTuber, but if you told me all that stuff and I went over there and I told that guy what your story is, then he's going to be like, sick, cool, yeah.
that's
Then he's not going to be able to tell the next person because the story is not a specialist, it's a generalist, and therefore there's so much that there's nothing.
damn. That's freaking deep right there. I definitely gotta look at how to like brand myself and to be a specialist like that. I guess the only thing would be Coachella. That's the only thing. What do you What do you think? How would a YouTuber, content creator?
Honestly, I think it's man, I think that has to come internally, like from you, and that it kind of sucks saying that because I'm like I'm selling the Kool-Aid, and then now you're like, what what should I drink and how should I drink it? But it really just has to come based off of you. What I have found is that like if you, and actually not even just from what I found, I will say my sources. James Victori, he says that who you were as a kid is what makes you great today. And he always says that if you're trying to find yourself and you're trying to find out what to do in life, normally you can just look straight back to when you were a kid and what you were doing and how you were doing it. Usually your kid form has the answers to what you need to do as an adult. So like for me, I was, I mean, believe it or not, I was making little groups out of my cousins. I would say like, okay, you bring this Pokemon cards, you bring the the books, and you bring all these things, and then so I formed these groups, these little alliances. I put a title on them. I was like, okay, we're the we're the Mario Brothers or whatever,
Yeah.
and then I formed like these like events, almost these like little events, and I used to just like, and then I always spent a lot of time like drawing and creating things. And so what I found that when I went to commercial real estate and I started doing sales, where is that child? He is now being locked down. He is lying to himself, and he's telling himself that he is a salesperson, that he is, all invested into real estate. Now that like does not make sense in my head. My dad, for example, he used to sell oranges on the street. He used to like get oranges and then sell them for more. He used to get pillowcases from LA and then grab like the pillows from the trash and take out the stuffing and like repurpose them and sell them. And so that's what he did as a child. Like he struggled and he went through all that stuff. And then as an adult, and what he's really successful in right now is investing into real estate. he buys and he flips houses and he rents to people. So that has always been in him as a
Yeah.
child. And I feel like I fought against my inner self when I went into real estate, because I was just like, I am a real estate agent and I'm good at sales and I'm good at doing these things. And it was really like a big lie to myself. And I think like going back to that child self and making these creative groups and resources and all this stuff, and then, you know, filming and capturing moments, like creating things every single day, like keeping my brain stimulated. Like I'm really finding myself just going back into that child form and just doing that. Like it's as simple as that. But what happens when we start getting enough knowledge to ask questions, existential questions like, who am I? What should I be doing on this world? Then we start getting confused, and normally we'll answer by looking forward and doing what the person in front of us is doing, which is walking in that ant line, following the leader of just silence and of depression and of, you know, coping with just unexcitement of life and of the world. And it's like we don't, there's this weird transition when we're a child to becoming an adult, and I feel like we just have too much knowledge to that we question ourselves. We question ourselves and we say, who are we? When it's like, no, you didn't need to ask that. You've never needed to ask that. You just need to go back to who was I as a child? It was never hiding. It's there. And so I think like if you go back into your childhood and see what you were doing as a child, or what you enjoyed, or how you did it, or where you were at, then you can slowly but surely find what your channel is about, what you're about, and what life is about.
Yeah, that's it. It got really deep right now.
Yeah.
No, man, it's been a really good podcast though. Like, just mind blowing. So much information, so much valuable knowledge for people. Like you're definitely doing amazing, and hopefully once we get back to normal sooner than later, you start doing some stuff. And again, I want to do a podcast where we sit down again like we did last time.
Mm-hmm.
Once we could stop doing social distancing, whenever that is.
Yeah, man, definitely. I think you've got it all figured out, and I think it's just, you know, you just keep on doing you, and like how you told me on my podcast is just stick with it, keep on going forward, and don't overthink things.
Yeah.
You know, and the same thing with this COVID-19. Nobody could lie to you right now and say that it's going to be all okay, or that, I mean, nobody's going to lie to you and say that like nothing's wrong or nothing's happening, or, you know, stuff is happening. It's just that cheesy quote. It's how you react to it, right?
Yeah, definitely. And where could people find you on YouTube and social media for those people that are listening?
So you guys can find me on YouTube, Woodie Landeros. You could just search that up, and it's Woody with an IE. And then my video production company is RebeccaBlueMedia.com. You can find all the links there. And then my creative resource library is onbrink.com. And you can find all my merchandise, the different stuff that I sell and everything that I do. And then all over every single social media is just at Woodie Landeros.
Oh, okay, cool. I'll put links in the description too, so that way people can find you easier. Oh, well, thank you for coming on the podcast. It's just an amazing episode. Probably one of the best episodes I've done so far.
Heck yeah, man! You're so good at making me feel comfortable and everything. I feel like I should just be on this podcast instead of mine, because I get so nervous when I'm on mine.
You just gotta relax. We gotta get this side of you on every single one of those. Are you gonna do any more podcasts?
Yeah, man. The next season 2 of Shut Up and Fail is gonna be all females, and I'm gonna be creating them on Zoom as well. And so we're just working out all the kinks and stuff for that.
Oh, okay, cool. Oh, I can't wait to watch those. And well, thank you for everything. And then I'll see you next time, I guess.
All right, man. Thanks.
All right.
Bye.